He's finally here. It's GOR-ROK, the Great White Lizard, coming in hot after his shift on Barney and friends, and with him comes the might of Itza. And again, we've got a 2-for-1 special. But GOR-ROK is the star of the show here, and by God, does he run like an arthritic grandma or what? Not the prettiest Saurus I've ever seen, but in this first game, it's my Lizardmen versus Aura del Sacao's Empire. And in the second game, we'll be showing off Markus WULFHART, so be sure to stick around for that. 2 horned ones, heavily armored raptor shot cav on the hunt. They're going to be incredibly important, as are Empire war wagons. The Black Lions Regiment of Renown, mobile artillery platform with a Hellblaster volley guns mounted in the carriage. If that sounds strong to you, it is. Win the mobility game and your opponent will cry, but leading the Huntsmarshal's expedition is a Huntsman General. Monster Hunter with a heavy emphasis and synergy with the lore of fire. Archers, great swords, Empire Knights. The game plan is simple. Whittle down the reptiles from range, then strike the killing blow with Zweihanders. But the old ones smile at us, Imperials. Can you say the same? We got GOR-ROK, the legendary albino, in the flesh, and I like him quite a bit. Has a unique animation set, pretty swaggy one at that, and a nice toolkit as well. To the death gives him +4 leadership and +8 melee attack when below 50% HP. Rock of Itza gives him 44% physical resist and 9% vigor on a 60-second cooldown when engaged in melee. Shield of Eons is amazing. Grants 60 armor and expert charge defense in a 40-meter AoE, and the Mace of Ulamak boosts his melee attack by 44 with 40% AP and weapon damage as a cherry on top. Highest melee defense, missile block chance, and damage resist on the Lizardmen roster. He's a tanky boy, as you might expect. And a Skink Bro with Manticore summons, Crossgores with 2-handed weapons to help me deal with the Greatswords and Horned ones. Very expensive, but so powerful when trying to enforce your will in a cav fight. Very few units can beat them in a one-on-one. Bunch of skinks, some Saurus as well, looking to spread the field and overwhelm the Empire in a grind, which is where GOR-ROK and the Legion of Shakwa thrive. But for looting time and the Empire, Black Lion's War Wagon is the biggest threat at the start of the match. Huge missile damage, long range, hefty price tag of 1,800 gold, kind of unit that can win or lose you a battle depending on how you use it, but it packs a wallop and looks pretty pimpin' as well. Exhibit would be proud. Sterling Deathjacks as a useful little unit on the flanks here. Stalk, Vanguard, and Snipe. I found them best when they can sneak up on artillery pieces and take them out without anyone noticing. Really good against low armor factions. Sigmar's Sons in the center for that unbreakable shield wall. Bunch of archers and their crappy 120 range, but they're incredibly cheap themselves, so not really a big deal. And a Huntsman General, the generic budget Markus WULFHART. 180 range, 100 bonus versus large, decent chunk of AP with Stalk and Vanguard. His oil flask applies 50% weakness to fire and minus 48% speed on contact. So it's a snare essentially, dramatically lowers the speed of enemy units trying to close the gap, and has very obvious synergy with the lore of fire. Hail of Fire imbues fire damage and plus 30 reload skill in an AoE, and Arrow of Akshi is a flaming magic missile. So, for obvious reasons, you want to combine all that with a Bright Wizard and Kindle Flame from the lore of fire. That additional 22% weakness to flame is super nice, and you'll be able to burninate the countryside and the peasants as you melt stuff with Flaming Sword of Ruin and stacking debuffs. It's a micro-intensive, but very rewarding style of play. Great swords are amazing in this matchup. They grind through pretty much all Lizardmen infantry, and Empire Knights out on the flanks are going to be pretty useful as well. So as the battle commences, Aura del Sacao, looting time, gonna move up those Black Lion Hellblaster volley guns and start firing into the infantry. And I have a lot of infantry, don't have a lot of mobility, just those 2 horned ones. So, gonna have to keep them kind of away and in cover for the moment. Don't want to get them shredded, which means this approach is gonna hurt. And there's really no way to close them or zone them out. They're faster than pretty much all my stuff. 50 speed means they are well faster than Saurus and Skinks. And the problem is, they are a mobile artillery platform, as I said. They can kind of go wherever they want, line up those shots, and if you put them on the flank of a huge infantry line, they will absolutely shred it. They are very, very good. So as this game starts, Skinks are going to get torn up a bit. Not so worried about that. If he fires at Skinks all day, I'll be a happy boy, but it's the Saurus I'm actually worried about. No idea what happened right there. I was not in a control group with them, and they just decided to get massively bunched up, and if he had shot when they were grouped up like that, could have probably lost the entire unit, which would have been pretty funny and brutal, but it did not happen. Saurus, the right flank of their formation, getting absolutely shredded by these Black Lion Hellblaster volley guns, and they will continue pounding into the Itza battle line. Roll out those guns. Let them feel our fury. And the Elder race will feel the bite of brand spanking new technology. Look at those kills, man. That's one volley, fourth of the unit. It's already looking like exploded potato. So, I'm realizing, okay, that hurts a lot. A lot. I can't really afford to be losing that many Saurus as we close the gap here. And so Skink Cohort will push up and try and zone out the stuff. Try and absorb some of that fire, pulling that Saurus unit all the way back because I really don't want them to get shot up anymore. But there's still a large distance to cover here. And what I'm thinking of is, well, there are a couple things. One, GOR-ROK does have the benefit of that plus 60 armor aura in an AoE from that Shield of Eons. That expert charge defense, if the Empire Knights decide to get a little bit aggressive and go up the center, would be useful as well. But I'm so spread out. Honestly, I think looting time should be charging those Skink Cohort in the front right now. You should be just setting them right up the middle, take as many of those meat shields off the field as possible. That'll be a really great way to start this battle off right. As it stands, Skink Cohort, though, get in there at about half HP, got shredded by archers on the way in, and the Red Crested Skinks with their great weapons will also be looking to charge in on the flanks, and they'll get the engagement they want straight into the Spearmen as the Black Lions continue shooting into Itza's battle lines. But as we charge into melee here, the Horned Ones see an opportunity, and they will catch out those Empire Knights on the right flank of the Huntsmarshal's expedition. That's big. We have to win the mobility game. There's no two ways about it. If the Empire Knights are around in the mid to late stages of this game, we're going to be in huge trouble. He's doing a good job of overlapping that engagement with spears and halberds to make sure the Horned Ones can't win that convincingly. But look at that. Flaming Sword of Ruin on all of his archers and Oil Flask sent at the Kroxigors and the stuff in the middle. Going to slow them down and make them weaker to fire. So it's a very nice synergy there. Horned Ones charging in. What those great swords should probably do is turn around and back up those Empire Knights. They're pushing forward right now. I think that might be a bit of a mistake. It's a very good move to move the halberds behind those Horned Ones. Probably got too aggressive with those heavy cav, but if the great swords are in that fight too, I think the Horned Ones probably died there no matter what. Now it's just a race against time. Now the Empire Knights on the other side already almost dead, gonna be able to get a rear charge there. GOR-ROK stuck in the middle of things. Take a look at those new animations, looking glorious. Shield of Eons and the Mace of Ulamak, tasting the blood of Imperial defenders, and a Kroxigor ripping stuff up with that death roll. There are 3 animals that legitimately terrify me: hippos, sharks, and crocs. At least on land, against a tiger or a bear or a lion, you have some semblance of a chance, but crocs, no. When you're in their territory, you're in huge trouble. So great whites and crocodiles, 2 scariest things, and both of them are on the field here. I feel bad for the Empire defenders. Nice rear charge from those Horned Ones into the back of the Empire front line. Nice fireball going right at that skink of the lore of Beast, but Kroxigor gonna take that to the face, doing what they do best, bodyguards of the skinks, and pushing forward through the center. Now, Oil Flask going down on the Kroxigors, and take a look at all this DPS that's about to come in. That is seriously good use of Winds of Magic. Flaming Sword of Ruin on all 3 archers, all focus firing on a unit that now has a huge weakness to fire. That is 66% weakness to fire when a Lore of Fire spell is cast. And all of those archers firing into the Kroxigors, they are melting. Transformation of Kadan, Manticore got in there. Terror Route begins on a few of those archers, and now the kite game begins. The Empire infantry was always going to have a little bit of trouble dealing with the Saurus, but the great swords are still alive and fresh and ready to do some pounding, and GOR-ROK is as well. Looking for that Huntsmarshal General, can't quite get his hands on him, but he'll be able to escape and moving away from those Empire Knights. Now, Horned Ones coming in for a rear charge. Those Black Lions, lost micro on them for just a moment. They're pinned now, and they have nowhere to go. Skinks, Saurus, and Horned Ones munching on them from behind. That's a big unit to take off the field, but they're already over 100 kills, and a lot of them were on Saurus. Definitely making their presence felt, and honestly, they use the majority of their ammunition too. It looks like they only have about 1/5 of their ammo left, so not a gigantic loss there, but certainly would have been good to be able to cycle charge and use them a little bit later. But with the Horned Ones winning their engagements against the Empire Knights, it would have been pretty hard to keep them alive. That's the thing. If you have a unit like the Black Lions, you gotta win the mobility game. If you don't invest in that, then it can be problematic. They're gonna go down. Legion of Chakra in the center, they should be able to beat up Spearmen all day long, no problem. Fireball going right through, and again, trying to snipe out that Lore of Beast Skink. But the thing is, I only have Transformation of Kadon on him. He's only 500 gold. He's already going to be able to use both his spells, no matter what. We're not going to lose out on that. Kroxigor smashing a few of those poor archers. And so, if I lose the Skink Priest, it's really not that big a deal. But GOR-ROK, he's not quite as big as Mixu's take on him, but he's a big boy for sure. I'd say he's about a head or so taller than the majority of Saurus in the game, and he is bigger than regular Scarbets and Old Bloods. And the Shield of Eons, tossing that up in the air, alley-ooping it back to Papa style to himself. NBA Street Volume 2, and the Empire Spearmen are feeling his wrath. Horn 1, clever girl. Oh my god, what a brutal, horrible way to die. That is going to be the fate of many of these archers this battle. The Horned Ones are free to rampage in the back, and rampage they will, running all over these skirmishers, having a field day back here. But there aren't a lot of them left. Both those Horned Ones were maybe a little bit tad aggressive in the beginning of that match. Sniping out the Empire Knights on the Empire right flank was good, but the engagement over on the other side meant that that unit took a beating when those halberds came in from behind. And with the Empire Knights and the Great Swords nearby, really hurt them. So don't have as many of those very expensive cav units in the late game as I would like to. And it might end up hurting me here, because the Empire is doing a very good job of spreading the field and getting everything the hell away from all that mobility. Making sure you crisscross that fire, get some enfilade going in, and when those Horned Ones start dying, Empire might be able to turn this one back, because that Huntsmarshal General is going to be a big issue for both GOR-ROK and the rest of the Lizardmen army. And you can see Balance Bar still dead even. We're more than 10 minutes into the battle right now. GOR-ROK is full HP. He's doing quite well. And these infantry have no hope of killing him whatsoever. I mean, he's just smashing stuff left, right, and center. Khabib Nurmagomedov just smashing everything that gets near him. But besides that, the Lizardmen aren't looking too hot. I mean, they've lost a lot of their cav. Saurus are beaten up. Not a lot of skinks left on the field either. Things are going to get pretty tough for both sides here. It's going to be a grind, but that is where GOR-ROK thrives. And those stats, though, you just saw it when he's got the Mace of Ulamak popped, when he's got Rock of Itza popped, when he's got Shield of Eons popped. His stats go into the stratosphere. Weapon strength of 630, 89 melee attack, 87 melee defense, 44% physical resist. Dude is a monster. I don't know if he's going to take over the meta in terms of Footlords, but definitely not too shabby when he's walking around on his own two legs. Horned Ones still munching on everything that's isolated back here, and they truly are having a field day because there's so much routing on the Empire line. Everything is so beaten up. Just run them down, charge them over, and feast on the flesh. And that's what they're doing, but there aren't many of them left. Get the cycle charges in wherever we can, but don't know how long those Horned Ones are gonna last, because that HP pool, it's pretty tiny at this point. Beautiful rear charge into the back of the Great Swords. And now GOR-ROK is starting to get kited. Oil flask on him. He's moving like, he's frozen in place essentially, just snared. Moving like molasses in January, and he cannot close the gap there. Huntsmarshal, or Huntsman General rather, should have no problem kiting him here. That's what he's gonna do. He's gonna stop him for a second. That's a mistake. You can probably outrun him no matter what. You should probably do so, because if he gets in charge range, it's gonna hurt. Bright Wizard coming over to reinforce. Horned Ones running down everything. But look at both armies. They are completely tattered at this point. The only advantage the Empire has is the kite game, essentially, with the archers. And the only advantage the Lizardmen have is GOR-ROK, that Shield of Eons, and the Horned Ones that are still around and kicking. But for how long is the big question. They're in there again. They're into the cookie jar. They're feasting on archers. But how long can they last? They're routing right now. They're about to rout. GOR-ROK is, well, he's having Footlord problems, and he's just getting kited around all over the place. Can't actually catch up to the archers. And so if he gets whittled down a little bit more here, Balance Bar could shift, and then Huntsmarshal's expedition could be in a great position to take this battle. Halberds giving chase. Looks like those Horned Ones are going to rally, but with only 6 or 7 models left, what damage can they really do? It's just Skinks, Saurus, GOR-ROK at 1/3 HP, Skink Priest of the Lore of Beasts, and that's pretty much it. Fireball coming in. Both transformations of Kadons have already gone out. Both Manticore summons already been used. And Aura del Sakeo just spreading the field, desperately trying to get those angles of fire where you can shoot in and not get that silver missile block chance. I believe GOR-ROK is the only unit on the Lizardmen roster with a silver shield block chance. And so his missile resist is very high when combined with the physical resist he has as well. And the fact that when he pops a Shield of Eons, he gets 60 armor. So he goes up to 160, twirling that thing around. Horned Ones coming in. Those archers should be dead, done, and dusted. That should be the end of them. Beautiful charge. And the Horned Ones are making up so much of their worth this battle. I mean, they are on their last legs. They're about to rout, and they're still slaughtering dozens of Empire infantrymen every single time they charge in. Legion of Shakwa still around as well. And that missile resist could play a huge factor as well. The Huntsman General probably doesn't have a lot of missile shots left, but only a couple of them. Against a normal Saurus unit would really, really hurt them, but you get 44% missile resist in there, and they really won't take much damage from that at all. And yeah, they're butchering all these halberds. Those ones just shattered, and it looks like them and the Horned Ones have a beautiful opportunity for a rear charge, but no! The Skinks rout everybody getting in there. Bright Wizard's still alive. Presumably still has some Winds of Magic left as well. Only cast a couple Flaming Swords of Ruin and some Fireballs, so he's probably got at least one more spell up his sleeve. Horned One's going around looking for that flank attack. GOR-ROK is laboriously trying to close the gap here and get in. But can he actually, before this battle is decided? Looks like the battle tower is shifting in Itza's favor. Nice rear charge. Gonna rout all those spears. And it comes down to the Huntsman General, the Bright Wizard, GOR-ROK, that Lore of Beastcaster, and just a handful of Legion of Shakwa. Only dozens at this point on both sides. Tiny little free-for-all at the end of this match to decide it, and it looks like it's going to go Itza's way. GOR-ROK is going to mulch that Bright Wizard and a Huntsman General in close quarters combat, but at what cost? At what cost indeed? Look at what remains of the Itza line. Very few of their number left, but they will take it, and that will be a victory for the children of the Old Ones. Really fun battle. Very close, too. And I really like the ideas he brought forth there. There were some micro mistakes, obviously. Don't really want to let your Empire Knights get charged by Horned Ones, obviously. But in terms of the ideas he brought forth in this battle, I really think Aura del Sakeo's on to something. Because the Huntsman General synergizes so well with the Lore of Fire. And I loved that idea of using the Oil Flask to snare a unit in place, cut their speed in half, essentially, and then give Flaming Sword of Ruin to all those really cost-efficient, very cheap archers. It massively increases their DPS, and the focus fire from them is really very impressive. You saw those cross scores melt, their HP bar plummet when all 4 or 5 of them were shooting into those cross scores, and even though they got 86 kills, those archers, I mean, they made sure those cross scores couldn't carry the Lizardmen into the later stages of that battle. That was a pretty big move, a power move indeed. Horned Ones, they were amazing that game. I love those cav units. 194 kills, 65 on the other. That was kind of mishandled a bit. But overall, Horned Ones were very, very good. And GOR-ROK, the Great White Lizard himself, with that Shield of Eons, with his melee stats, the guts of like 89 melee attack, 86 melee defense. Pretty crazy. 86 kills that battle. Like that a lot. And going very cheap on the caster with Transformation of Kadon, I think was the right call. Legion of Shakwa, pretty useful too. But now we're going to go into the second game and show off Markus Wulfhart. This is the Ohm Shard. It's spelled like Ogham. I think it's pronounced Ohm. It's one of the new maps introduced in this DLC, the Hunter and the Beast, and it is a gorgeous one. If you're wondering where exactly this is located, this is Albion. We got Stonehenge, and a big, magical, chaotic, freakish obelisk there just standing in the middle of Albion, and we've got a battle between Markus Wulfhart and GOR-ROK, the Great White Lizard. This will be the first time you've seen Huntsman on my channel, and we've got a War Wagon as well. This time, the Repeater Handgun variant. AP, GOR-ROK, the Great White Lizard, on the other side of the battlefield. And I will be in control of the Empire, as Aura del Sakeo controls Lizardmen, Itza, and those Razordons firing their armor-piercing shards. So, Huntsmarshal MARKUS WULFHART, he's kind of a beast. I think he's going to be a really, really damn good lord for the Empire. Because the dude's got crazy utility. For one, he's got 120 bonus versus large and AP with 556 missile damage. That's pretty good in and of itself. Got a strong single target magic missile with the Amber Bow. another magic missile called Focus Shot that deals more damage the more HP an opponent is missing, which can get real nasty real fast. And he has an AoE net. Go figure. Prey of Aneth Rama for the Wood Elves, eat your heart out. As if the Empire needed more nets, right? Only lasts for 11 seconds, but that's more than enough time for the 8 bonus versus large of Huntsmen to rip into Cav and monsters. You can stop all aggression on a flank if your opponent does a poor job of spreading out their attack. Denying enemy Cav their charge bonus, then countercharging with your own Demis or Rice Guard, that's approved by the God Emperor Mankind. Codex Astartes approved, but he's bringing his homies along for the ride, of course. Huntsmen and the White Wolves ROR, they're honestly pretty dirty as well. Usefulness of bonus for large archers with Vanguard and Stalk should be readily apparent, and we've got Spirit Leech and Purple Son of Xerius on that scythe-wielding Deathcaster. So in the back lines, got some Empire Knights, the Hammer of the Witches for the bonus for large, but he's being smart. Itza not really bringing any big dinos whatsoever. There are Razor Dawns though. They've got armor-piercing melee attacks and AP on their range attacks as well. What I've seen from them so far, I don't think they're incredibly impressive, but in sustained DPS, when you're talking about focus firing on a single heavily armored target, they can definitely rack up a lot of damage. They need time to do that though. So their DPS in and of itself isn't crazy, but if you give them time, they can chunk through pretty much anything with their high AP. So you got GOR-ROK, the Great White Lizard, bunch of Skinks, a bunch of Saurus, Razor Dawns, and Pak cohort out on the right flank, hidden in the woods, and they'll be trying to get around the sides and get in on top of my stuff. Lore of Heaven's Caster with the Skink Priest, and that is that. So at the beginning of the match, I'm saying to myself, okay, well, GOR-ROK is in the front of the army, might as well shoot at him, right? Let's test that Shield of the Eons, test if he can maybe deflect some of those cannonballs from the Hammer of the Witches. Very small profile, shouldn't take too many shots from those cannons early on, but Huntsmarshal MARKUS WULFHART and the Amber Bow letting loose with that focus shot, and he'll be going right for GOR-ROK as well. Really testing that plus 60 armor aura, and he's going to use it. He will pop Shield of Eons, gets up to 160 armor, and really, that did very minimal damage to him there, so pretty impressive. But again, more HP you're missing, the more damage that focus shot will do. Hammer of the Witches letting loose, still going for GOR-ROK, but a lot of those shots will miss him and hit the poor Skinks and Saurus standing right next to him. But he does have the Legion of Shakwa as well for that 44% missile resist. You'll probably get used to using that relatively soon. Huntsman letting loose on the red-crested Skinks. Good target to shoot at because they do not have a missile block chance. And the War Wagon on the right flank, getting some good shots in there as well. Move that around the side, fire into the unshielded side, and they can rack up quite a bit of damage. And they're already getting some good kills at the moment. Pretty quick rate of fire on them. 32 missile damage, but it's a little bit not quite representative of what it actually is. They fire pretty quick. They can do very good damage against single entities and high-value targets like those Saurus. Clever girls, maybe not so clever, moving forward and getting blasted apart by those War Wagon shots, and you'll realize, okay, maybe we need to get out of here, but Feral Cold ones do not have a big HP pool, they do not have a lot of models, and they're going to rampage almost immediately straight into spears as the Empire Knights go right up the center and get a nice frontal charge into some red-crested Skinks. Some good value there. They cost 600 gold now. They have been increased in price. They were either 550 or 575. Now they're 600. So a little bit more expensive, which I think is fair because they were very cost efficient for what they're able to do in terms of their AP damage output. Razor Dawns and the Pak cohort have sprung their ambush and they're going all the way around the flank. Looking to get in on those Huntsmen in the back lines, but that's why we have MARKUS WULFHART and a net. If they get a little bit too aggressive, we can stop them dead in their tracks, rip them apart with all that Huntsman focus fire. So the Empire Knights are going to charge in. That is a mistake. Should not have taken that engagement. I needed to move the Huntsman over to that side, use that net, and then maybe get a free charge in with the Empire Knights from a flank or from behind. But no reason to send them in there, because we have a net to just stop them, pretty much make them rampage with all those Huntsman shots, and then go in. But we've wrecked those red-crested Skinks, and there's a bit of a blob forming on the right side of the Huntsmarshal's expedition. Might be a juicy little target for a Purple Son of Xerius. We'll be moving over that way in short order. But GOR-ROK and the Lizardmen infantry in the center are going to run through stuff. We don't have really any expensive infantry to hold the line here, and that looks like a net going down. A snare from Huntsmarshal MARKUS WULFHART, stopping the Pak cohort in place. And look at that focus fire coming in from all those huntsmen. Force Large so good against the Cav, and a Purple Sun Azarius on that flank. It's gonna rip everything apart. Will not discern between friend or foe. The Wind of Death brings only one thing: carnage. Flagellants getting jibbed by their own friendly vortex, and it's not feeling so friendly when it decides to spin back the other way. So yeah, killed a bunch of Lizardmen, also kills a bunch of Empire troops there. Lord of Deathcaster feeling pretty good about that one. He's like, yeah, maybe some friendly fire, but I brought death. That's what I'm supposed to do, right? That's what you hired me for. Over 100 kills with that big purple orb. Pretty fun. Paco Pop cohort got shredded by that focus fire. Huntsman. Juicy. So juicy. Razordons moving out to the sides and trying to get some good shots. And they did get some good shots into the Empire Knights earlier. Cut them down to half HP. Battle of the Nublets, Skinks and Spearmen without shields. 300 gold versus 300 gold. Who will win in this terrible battle? Markus Wulfhart trying to snipe out GOR-ROK. That's not going to be easy. Legion of Chakra is right there. Stand your ground pops. Going to give leadership and melee defense in an AoE. And Empire War Wagon causing all kinds of havoc over on this side of the battlefield. He's got 50 speed, so he can chase down routing units. He can continue to fire into them, make sure they don't come back to the fight, and that's 4 or 5 units he is preventing from coming back, and that's a big deal. If you take a look at how the battlefield is presented at the moment, those huntsmen, if even a half beaten up skink charging from the side, could tie up a bunch of units and prevent them from firing and allow the Legion of Chakra and some of these other units to finally close the gap. So just the fact that War Wagon is preventing all that from happening, making a huge impact there, and also getting some good kills as well. Huntsman continuing to fire in. Spirit Leech going down on Legion of Chakra to make sure some of those models start dying. And the Scythe, well, he just got bowled over, man. He just got clotheslined into the cobblestone road, but he's making sure he'll get some vengeance here right now. Looks like a harmonic convergence to make those Legion of Chakra hit real hard. But you shall not pass. Gandalf standing there. I am a summon to the secret fire. Wielder of the flame of honor. Dark fire will not avail you, flame of Udun. And he's just gonna get in there and start carving them up. And honestly, the Amethyst Wizard has some really cool animations. And yes, that was a full Gandalf monologue in the middle of my commentary. Hope you enjoyed that. We got Markus Wulfhart moving in from the side, and he's got more. Oh yeah, he's gonna get that focus shot in, but he's not going to fire because something got in his way, and I think he is on skirmish mode right now. So I was having my magic missiles canceled a lot this battle, which was pretty annoying. He's trying to do it like 2 or 3 times in a row. There we go. Finally goes off. Focus shot goes. No, that was just a regular shot. Can't use focus shot on Razordons. Can only use it on single entities. Wind Blast going through the Huntsman, and Razordon moving up on the side. Empire Knights are going to zone them out. Might not want to fight them in melee though because of all their AP. And GOR-ROK, he's like, you guys just get out of my way. Sigmar Sons, you're unbreakable. You are very annoying. I have more important things to slay. And the Hunter is about to become the Hunted because GOR-ROK, the Great White Lizard, is coming in, and he's going straight for Markus Wulfhart alongside that more of Heaven's Caster. Nice net, gonna tag everything on the Itza side of things. And a focus shot. Take a look at the Skink Priest. He's got about half HP. He's already missing a lot of health. And we're gonna line up a magic missile on that dude. And yeah, he's not very tanky. He's a pretty he's a squish ball. But look at that damage. 1100 from that focus shot. Almost one-shotting him from half HP there. That was pretty glorious. And he's just gonna straight up rout. So yeah, that magic missile, it hurts. And that net, the utility from that is amazing. Just shut down all of that Itza aggression in the middle. And things are far gone for the beasts of the First City at this point. Lizardmen are not going to be able to take this one. GOR-ROK is going to try to do whatever he can. Shield of Eons will keep him tanky and survivable, but it's not going to matter. He's the only guy left on the Lizardman side of things. He's going to get in there, swing the Mace of Ulamak a couple times, carve through a few of those White Wolf Huntsmen, but at the end of the day, even with Cold-Blooded and the leadership buff from that, will not be enough, and the Huntsman Expedition will take the battlefield. War Wagon, super fun to use that game, as you might have expected, having AP missiles and all that mobility. Pretty useful combination. Horrible melee stats on them. I believe it's like 18 melee attacks, 16 melee defense or something. They are not legit chariots. They are not Cold One chariots. They are not Tyrannok chariots or Ithilmar chariots. They are not one of those ones you can just throw into infantry formations and expect them to survive. But on routing stuff, they can do very nicely, and they are better for sniping single entities than large blocks of Saurus or Skink. So maybe weren't used quite as effectively in that battle as they could have been, but I quite enjoyed them. Got a lot of kills. Hammer of the Witches was nice. I mean, Huntsmarshal MARKUS WULFHART, I'm not kidding you, is going to be one of the best lords on the Empire roster, I think now. He's going to be useful in a ton of different matchups. Just the fact that he has a net for free, huge deal. Game-changing deal for the Empire. Synergy that affords with Huntsmen and handguns and the entire roster should be readily apparent to you. So that was a very fun battle. Got to kite out the Lizards of Itza there. I think the build from Aura del Saqueo was good. The Razordons themselves, not very impressive that game, but hard to know. Hope you guys enjoyed. More content coming very soon.